Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Faz Kareem and I'm with Learnit. Now today I'm here to do a quick e-learning on Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, our email client, helping us manage our incoming emails with our inbox and helping us use a calendar, book our appointments, book our meetings, whether that's for me or someone else. Now, I do want to remind everybody that this is part 2. We do have an Outlook beginner course inside of this channel with a different set of topics that's more tailored for a beginner, new user to Outlook. Now, since you're here, let me go ahead and show everyone what we're going to be covering in Outlook Advanced, because there is a pretty nifty agenda list that we have. Now with Outlook Advanced, I do want to remind everybody about the interface. The Outlook interface with Office 365. I'm using Office 365, which is the latest release. And I just want to talk about certain areas that we call certain names, like the folder pane, the navigation pane, the inbox. So that way we know the terminology as we move along. Now once we get that out of the way, I want to focus on actual functionalities, things like signatures, voting buttons, quick steps, using rules for automation. Maybe you have a really large schedule and you have to add a delegate to control your calendar. Now, there's a lot in store for us besides just these topics here. I also want to dive in and talk about working offline, adding more than one profile to Outlook. Maybe customizing your view of your inbox. Or exporting your contacts. How can I share my contacts out with other individuals? Or maybe someone sent me a file of contacts. How can I import those contacts into my Outlook? Now towards the end, once we cover these advanced features, I just want to pop into our Outlook settings and our options, because there's a lot of good settings and customizations for your calendar, your inbox, and the overall tools, the functionality, the quick access toolbar, the ribbon. All this will make sense when we talk about the overview. But a lot of great customizations, and it's all up to your liking, depending on what you're going to be using Outlook for, or how much you're going to be using certain tasks and certain tools within here. You might want to customize them to your liking, so we'll see that towards the end. Alrighty. So I went ahead and opened up Outlook here, and let's do a quick little overview of the interface. Certain things that we should know the terminology for. Now the very first area that I want to just point out to everybody is actually going to be our ribbon. As we all know, all of our Office products, at the very top of our screen, has something called the ribbon interface. They've actually been using that same setup since 2007. Now besides the ribbon, there's some more Outlook specific areas though, and they all have names. Like for example, we have our folder pane. Now with our folder pane, in Outlook 2016 and Office 365, it comes with two different areas. It comes with a favorites section, and then your inbox, of course. With the folder pane, it's pretty customizable. You can add search folders, you can add traditional folders, and you can apply rules to automatically move certain items into a folder. We'll talk about that today. Now, besides having a folder pane in Outlook, right down below it, we also have something known as the navigation pane. Now the navigation pane allows us to navigate to our calendar, maybe our contact list, our task list. And if you're using notes, the sticky notes section of Outlook, you can also access that from there. There's some keyboard shortcuts you can use to navigate across these areas, like Control-1 for mail, Control-2 for calendar, Control-3 for people, and Control-4 for tasks. But we'll talk about those a little later once we're navigating around. Now, besides our folder pane and our nav pane, we also have our inbox. Now our inbox is currently sorted with the newest messages on top and the oldest on the bottom, based off the dates they're coming in. But there's various other ways we can sort our inbox we'll see today and customize the view. Like I have conditional formats. I'm highlighting certain emails from Damon Red, highlighting certain emails from someone else, Elizabeth Green, just so they stand out to me. Now, something that's new, I believe Outlook 2013 introduced this. So if you have Outlook 2010, you don't have this area. And this area is called the reading pane. It's where we get to go ahead and read our emails. Back in the day when we were using Outlook 2010, you had to double click an email to read it. I've also seen some people have their reading pane at the bottom of their inbox. They've customized the view a little bit, which we'll talk about. So besides the ribbon interface, there's actually a lot of Outlook specific areas that we have to learn about today. Like our folder pane. That's the first one. Our navigation pane. You hear me use that word a lot today, our nav pane. Let's go to the navigation pane and navigate to the tasks list. And the inbox, that's an easy one. We all know what an inbox is. And of course our reading pane. So the Outlook specific areas. And then of course we have the ribbon, which all of our tools are available inside of a tab structure. We have the home tab, the send and receive, the folder tab. I have a custom tab that I've made. So now that we got a little breakdown of an overview, know the certain names, the terminologies to these areas, let's talk a little bit about working with emails, sending new messages, and formatting them. Alrighty. So I have my inbox open here, but let me go ahead and open up a new email. And I'm going to open up a new email here by using a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to use Control plus the letter N. That's just going to open up a new email dialog box for me. Alrighty. So now that I have the new email box open here, I'm on the message tab. Let me go ahead and add someone to the to line. And I'm going to do that by using a mention. Because with Outlook, with Office 365, you can actually just put an @ symbol. And that's just going to go ahead and open up your contact list. And it's going to show you names as you start typing. And you can actually add someone to the to line directly from the body of a message using that. So if I go @, it's going to pull up my contacts here. And I can go ahead and choose to add someone to the to line there. Alrighty. Now, besides having messaging options that allow you to insert basic text, I know most of us can add in text to an email. There also is the ability to add files. I know a lot of us these days, we're using cloud services like OneDrive, Box, different other various iCloud, other various cloud services to hold our files. But it's nice to know that those are nicely available when you do attach a file, besides just browsing your PC. I mean, it even shows you your most recently used files as well, in case you want to quickly attach those to an email. Now, besides having your messaging options and the include command group, you also have an insert tab though, where you can insert various objects and some pretty advanced graphics into an email. Let me go to my insert tab and give you a little overview of that. Now it's nice because you can even see attached files available there. It's a pretty useful function. But I want to start focusing on the illustrations command group here. Because besides adding a file, you can actually include pictures directly inside of an email, and it lets you browse online for an image. Or you can include shapes. I do this a lot because shapes can be used as text boxes in an email. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little example of an illustration here by adding in smart art. And smart art is actually a combination of text and shapes put together. And it's available in Word, it's available in PowerPoint, but it's nice to know that even your emails can have these things and make certain things or bullets or a process that you're trying to describe really easy to understand. Let me go ahead and choose a smart art graphic from the list that I have available. So I'm looking at all of the smart art graphics. If I want to show a list of information, I have a basic block list. Maybe I want to add some pictures to the list. I have a picture caption list that I can use. Or maybe I'm trying to describe a cycle. You know, I can use one of these options that will allow me to add text to each one of these bubbles and have arrows pointing to the next option. Here, let me go ahead and just start with a basic one. I'll do a basic block list here. I'll do a picture caption. There we go. Also add an image too, actually. Yeah. I'll hit OK. Now when I do this and I insert smart art in any one of our platforms, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, doesn't have it in Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. I just wanted to point out that the Smart Art Design tab pops up. That shows up once you have Smart Art, and the Format tab show up as well. They're not there if you let go of the Smart Art though. So if you deselect the Smart Art, it's not going to be there anymore. Just got to click back onto it and it comes back. Now the Smart Art actually allows you to customize it with an image. This particular one has an image placeholder. And you get to insert text below the image, like a caption. So if I want to, here, I'll do one for Microsoft Word. And I can add a little logo for Word as well, just by clicking on the icon and viewing online. It's powered by Bing. I can also use my OneDrive account if I had my files or images ready. But I'm sure Bing can find us a Word logo. There we go. Here, I'll call this one Excel, so I'll find the Excel logo. And I'll call this one PowerPoint. And I'll leave this one as Outlook, since that's the one we're covering today, all Microsoft product. There's more than this. There's way more than this. Let me go ahead and add in the words here though. Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. So now that I have my smart art in place, another thing I just want to remind everybody is it just took advantage of the properties of shapes and the properties of text boxes. A lot of times I actually just use shapes. I'll insert a shape into an email, even Excel, even Word, and you can actually just type. And as soon as you start typing in them, a cursor will show up, and they become text boxes. So if you want something, a quick little one-liner to stand out, a quick little mention, you can even hyperlink, make this a link to something inside of an email. It's beneficial to know that these things are possible. So I've been talking for a little while. There's a few things that I actually mentioned with our formatting options. Now I just want you to play around with a few things before we move on to our next video. I want you to try practicing mentions like I did here. That way we can add someone to the to line directly from the body. I also want you to play around and practice doing a smart art. I know this might be new for some of us, so browse something other than the one that I've chosen. Maybe do a process, a cycle. Now, I also want you to just give it a try, adding a shape and start to type inside of it. And notice how it becomes a text box here. Now, when you've tried these three things, a smart art, a shape, and a mention, you can go ahead and unpause the video and continue on. I just want to give you a chance to practice. I feel like learning happens better when you practice these things that we discuss. So, now that we played around a little bit with these three things, our mentioning, our smart art, and our shapes, I also want to start talking about something pretty important. I mean, I already have it. Signatures. Outlook can have automatic signatures show up when you have an email. As soon as a new email gets generated, that way you don't have to type it in or accidentally make a typo when you're finishing off your emails. Now, the signature option, though, can be found in various areas. Like you can see in my Insert tab, I have a signature option there. And even when I go to my messaging, I have a signature option there. It's in two different areas. And this is when you open up a new email. Now, when you choose and open up that little icon, it's going to actually show you the current signatures that you've already saved. So right now it's saying that I have 3. But you can actually make your own, and you can set one as the default for all of your messages. Let me go ahead and click on the signatures option. I'm going to do it from the messaging tab for my include command group. But if you're on the insert tab, you can also go to the signature option and choose it from there. It doesn't matter. Let me go to the signatures here. And over here I have my email signature, and it's showing the 3 that I had on the list that I can pick from. But this time it's actually giving me an option to edit the signature as well. So if I wanted to create a new signature, all I needed to do is just add a new one to this list. And when I hit OK here, example signature, I'll hit OK. It's going to end up showing up as one of the options, and I can actually build my signature. Now I do have various formatting tools. I can insert photos, links, even a business card for my contacts if I have one ready for myself. This is something that I've made ahead of time, my business card. I've customized the colors of it and just added my title, department, email, that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and save the changes I've made there. I've saved them. It's really important to do that. You can hit OK, it saves it too, but I'm going to save it here. Now, besides being able to add signatures, you can set them as your default. So you kind of make one, and then you edit the signature, and then you choose the default one that you want. Now, if you have more than one account, you can choose what account uses what signature. Like my Learnit account here is using the Learnit signature for any new message I create. And also, if I hit the reply button, the forward button, I also want to use the Learnit signature again. I can use a different one for my replies and my forwards if I needed to. I can have one for my new messages or my replies or forwards. I can switch between them, but I'm not going to. I like my Learnit signature. So, signatures are important. I've noticed people use this for some odd reasons, like they'll add, certain information in there to quickly add in. There's other tools like Quick Steps that will do that for us, that we'll see today. But I do want you to try this out. I want you to try adding in a signature to your inbox. And once you've made your signature and you've made it look all pretty there, try setting it as your default for your account. For any new messages that come in, and any messages you choose to reply to, or you hit that forward button for. Yeah, so just pause the video. I'll be here when you get back, I promise. But definitely try out adding in a signature there. Alrighty, hopefully you had a little fun creating your Outlook signature, and hopefully you set it as the default, so you automated that process a bit. But another thing about automation is I do understand sometimes you're going to have vacation days, you're going to be on PTO, you're going to have these sick days, and you just want an out of office message to pop up. So in case someone messages you from inside your organization, you want to let them know, hey, I'm on vacation right now, I'll be back. Or maybe one of your clients are messaging you. One of your customers are messaging you, and you want to just have an email saying, hey, I'm sorry I can't reach your email. Please contact so-and-so if it's an emergency, but I'll be back to you on this date. You can have these custom messages assigned for each one of these situations, whether it's from inside of your organization, or you want to set it out of office for a global, for anybody. Now, the thing about out-of-office assistance, in order to turn it on, you have to do it from the File tab of Outlook. Now, there is a special name for this. It's called the Backstage View. The Backstage View. So when I click on the File tab, I'm going to the Backstage View, they call it. I'm over here looking at my account information, but I do get to see right off the bat from the Info area, I have the option for automatic replies. I get to use automatic replies to notify others that I'm out of office, on vacation, or not available to respond to an email message. So just remember, you have to turn that on. You have to go to the File tab. Automatic replies. Now, right now, by default, it's off. Do not send automatic replies. It's turned off. But if I needed to turn it on, I can go ahead and click that little toggle there. And then this option's become ungrayed out, so I actually can fill out the message that I want to create. But it's important to set a time frame. So maybe you're off on a Friday and you want to let people know that, hey, I'll be back on Monday. So start time, end time. You know, you can put 7 a.m. maybe till 5 p.m. Now inside of your organization, you see how there's 2 tabs here? The first one's inside my org. You can write a message. And if you want something for outside your organization, anyone else without a Learnit email, you can have a much more robust, nicer front-facing email for anyone outside your organization. You can also do it outside your contacts, be a little bit more specific, but you can also, it's by default set outside your organization. Here, I'm going to set this on just for a second. I'm going to hit OK just to show you what happens when it's on. You change your auto reply messaging for people inside your organization. Do you also want to change it for messages outside your organization? No, I didn't really write a message for people outside my organization, so I'm just going to hit no. So do you see how when I do that, it's going to automatically give me a yellow bar saying automatic replies are being sent for this account. And if I want to actually turn it off, I can do that directly from here. Kind of disabling it, turn off. Cool, and just like that, I turned it back off. My out of office assistant is no longer enabled, and I'll have to go back to automatic replies to turn it on and set that frame again. Now keep in mind that if you want to use automatic replies on your mobile device, Android, iOS, you can get the Outlook app as well. So, try this out. Try going to your Outlook and heading over to your File tab and turning on the out-of-office assistant. Then once you have it on, just try turning off that little yellow bar there with the turn off option that shows up. You can pause the video. I'll be right here when you get back. And we'll start talking about some different things like voting buttons inside of a message when you get back. Hopefully you had a little fun playing around with the out of office assistant, but make sure you've turned it off. Now that you've turned it off though. But I'm over here in a new email. I hit Control N. And I just want to start talking about some more advanced options that you have, besides inserting smart art, shapes, mentions. Inside of your messaging options tab, you have a command group that's called tracking. And something that I want to spend time on is voting buttons. You can send an email internally for your colleagues there, and you can vote on something. Now with voting buttons, there are some default ones like a yes, no, maybe, approve, reject. But you can actually set up your own custom voting button options as well. So if you wanted to have your own voting buttons custom here, you can just build your own with these voting buttons. So if I wanted one with maybe the option for indoor, or outdoor, or delivery, I can go ahead and add each one of these in, and I can put a separate semicolon for each one, separating them for each one of my options, indoor, outdoor, and delivery. Now I have voting buttons made for each one. Now, I do want to remind people that when you do use voting buttons, it does work for internal members. You all have to be on the same Exchange server, so every one of your colleagues will be able to answer this poll, but not outside of your organization. Now keep in mind that when you go to custom, there's a lot of stuff popping up in front of you. I just simply skipped to the voting and tracking options here. And I just added a custom voting option buttons that I have. There also is the option to go ahead and request a delivery receipt. Microsoft will let you know the message has been sent. And there even is an option to send a read receipt. So if I send this and once the user opens the message, a little message window will pop up saying, I requested a confirmation that you read it. You don't have to say that you sent it. You don't have to say that you read it. You can hit ignore, but it's just an option where you can request, not demand, but request a read receipt. Now, when you do have voting buttons in an email, the user will go ahead and answer them directly in line inside of the reading pane. So when a user receives that email, and they go ahead and have voting buttons available, it will be very obvious that there are voting buttons. They'll say it at the top of the email, and they can actually choose the response directly from the reading pane. Why don't you try this out? Try building a new email here, and try adding in voting buttons. Try going over to the options there, assigning voting buttons, and actually sending out the email to, if you want, to someone in your organization saying, hey, did you receive this? Good chance they will. But just want to remind everybody that it has to be someone inside of your organization that's connected to the same Exchange server that you're connected to. So, just to give you an idea, I sent myself voting buttons. I just sent it right here. It says, this message includes voting buttons. Click here to vote. And I can go ahead and hit yes, no, or maybe, because that's the options I chose. Here, I'll hit yes. You have chosen to respond yes, send the response now, or edit the response before sending. I'll send it now. Cool. So it's just a quick little confirmation. It says you have responded yes on Friday. I sent it to myself. Yeah, I sent the response to myself. Pretty nifty. There's my response. Yes. So the user would receive that, but we get the gist. I do want you to try this out though. Now, I don't want you to just pick the ones that you have built in. Try going over to your options and building a custom voting button. Adding your own with a semicolon after each option. And if you're curious about these options here, try playing around with request delivery receipt or read receipt to see how that changes the way your message sends. So I'm back here in my Outlook inbox, and something I want to talk about, since we're kind of on this trend of automating things, turning on the out of office assistant, putting default signatures, assigning voting buttons. I want to start talking about something called quick steps. Now, quick steps actually gets a bunch of actions and it puts it together into one button or one action that you can click. Now, there's some ones that are built in, some quick steps that will mark things as done, or, send it to a particular folder, or reply and delete. Or you can build your own new quick steps. So maybe I'm getting these automated emails from a website. Here's my offsite. They're sharing our community events, letting us know that in 10 minutes our Excel class starts. Or maybe a post. These are all coming from offsite. Here's another one on Wednesday from offsite, the expert session. Now, what I want to do here is I want to have a quick little quick step that will automatically move it to a folder once I click on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to right click into my inbox and I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to go ahead and call it offsite. And I'm going to go ahead and build a new quick step. And it's going to categorize my offsite emails. It's going to archive it as a category called archive that I've made. And it's going to move it to the folder called offsite. Just going to call it the offsite and category. Now I'm going to choose my actions here because it's saying what folder do you want to move it to. And in my case, I want to move it to the offsite folder. I also want to choose the category. Here, I'll mark it as a custom category for a custom category that I have. And I'll even mark the message as read. So once I click on that, it means I've read the message. I'll hit finish here. So you see how I just added in my own custom functionality here? Now this quick step, anytime I click on it, you saw that email went away, and now when I go to offsite here, the email shows up in the folder with the category automatically assigned. I mean, these are just some basic options. Move to folder. Categorize and move. Oh, flag it and move it to a folder. Or send a new email with someone already inside the to line. Or forward this email. Maybe you constantly forward these emails to someone you're working with. Assign a button that does that for you. Now you can actually build your own custom ones with a lot of different actions assigned to it. So down here, it's not really a template. You're making your own. It's like choose and add actions. And whenever you click on this quick step, it's going to apply all these actions for you. So maybe I want my first action to be marking a message as read. And my next action is making a copy. I want to make a copy of this. And I want to make a copy of it to my, we'll use my offsite folder again. And then I can keep going. I can add actions to this. Now, once I move that, I can flag the message. Maybe I have something to do with it. I can categorize the message like my other one did. Put a custom category. I can even build appointments. Create an appointment with that as an attachment, or with that as the text of the message. I'm going to leave it just at these basic actions. Now, what I really like about this, and I'm a big fan of keyboard shortcuts, you can assign your own. So if you want like Control-Shift-9, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to write a tooltip. So if I hover over that little icon, it's just going to let me know that it makes a copy. The custom category, that's all. Here, let me hit finish. So now when I hover over that, give it a second. There we go. It pops up. It says make a copy to offsite folder with a custom category. I wrote that myself. And I even chose the shortcut myself, Control-Shift-9. So if I go here and I hit Control-Shift-9, boom. So now when I go to the offsite folder, you see I made a copy of it and it added the custom category to it. So try this out. Try building a new quick step. I recommend just going straight to the custom option so that way you can add your own actions. But once you're done, manage your quick steps is also something I want you to browse. Because what if you made one that you don't really need to use? Like I have a random quick step. You can delete these if you don't need them anymore. You can clean up this list, like I have an example one from my last session here. I'm going to delete it. Another example one, I'm going to delete it. My archive and move, I'm going to delete that one too. Here, I'll delete this one too. Just keeping it clean, deleting my custom ones. I can even manage the way this window shows up. Maybe I have so many, but I want reply and delete to be on the top. I can go ahead and select it and just move it to the top of the list. And when I end up hitting OK, it switches it for me inside of my home tab. Pretty flexible in terms of customization and quick steps, but definitely try playing around with it. Try adding your own. It doesn't have to be for something that you need right now, but just an example one of making a copy to an email or moving something to a folder, creating a new meeting invitation for yourself with someone already invited, and come right back. Now, something that's very similar to quick steps, what we just covered, is Outlook rules. Now, quick step, you actually have to click it, and then it runs the quick step. So there's still an action from the user. After you build it, you actually have to click it to use it. Rules, on the other hand, are automated. Once you make a rule, you can choose to have it automatically run on any incoming message. So with rules here, I can create my own rule, or just like Quickstep, manage the rules that I already have. Now, as you can see, I have 3 rules that I'm currently working with. My very first one is My Analytics. It's just applying this rule for any message that comes from My Analytics, and it moves it to a My Analytics folder. I can see I have 2 copies of the same rule. Also another one for an automated email to move it into a particular folder that I have. But with rules here, I can create my own. So if I want certain emails, we'll stick with the offsite example that I have, to automatically go into a folder without me having to click on a quick step. I'd want a rule for it. Let me create my rule. Now, do you see how when I chose create rule, it picked the details from the message that I had selected? This one did not have a subject, and it was me. I was the one that sent it. But when I actually use the offsite, let me click on this one, and I go to rules here. You're going to notice that it actually chose the offsite email. It chose the subject for offsite. Now I just want it from the email. If it's from this offsite by Learnit, I want it to automatically, I'm going to choose the folder. I'm going to select the folder, check mark, select, and I just want it to automatically go into I'm going to open up my inbox and choose offsite. I'm going to select the folder that I created and hit OK. I can choose to play a sound. I can have it display in a new little item window. But keep in mind that this is not going to be in your inbox when it comes in. It's going to automatically be inside of that folder there. Now when I hit OK, it's going to give me a chance to run this rule on my inbox. So any messages from offsite are automatically going to go there. Kind of cleaning up my inbox a bit. I'm going to hit run this rule now on messages already in the current folder, which is my entire inbox. I'll hit OK. I can already see my offsites going away. There's 49 of them in there now. So all of my offsite emails got moved here automatically, and any future ones that I have coming in will also show up in that folder as well. Try it out. So we just talked about quick steps a second ago, and now we just talked about rules, even more automation. Try building your own rule, just one, and come right back because there's still a lot of goodies to cover. Alrighty. Hopefully you had a little fun playing around, adding in our quick steps, our rules, but let's talk a little bit about delegates. Now in Outlook, you can actually assign permissions to a folder or to your entire inbox and calendar to another individual so they can act on your behalf, or they can view the items in the folder, and in some cases even respond. Now if you do want to adjust your folder permissions, all you have to do is find the folder that you want and right-click it, because each folder has its own properties. Now inside of the properties, besides our general settings, you also have a permissions tab. Now when I click on this permissions tab here, it's actually going to show me the permission level. There's no one inside of this list, but I do have the option to add someone from my contacts. So if I add in Joseph Patty here, I can hit add and I can hit OK. I can choose what permission levels he has. Right now it's none. He has none. But I have an owner. I can make him an owner, giving him the entire details of the folder. He can make items. He can create subfolders inside of it. He can edit everything inside of it when he's an owner. Or I can make him just an editor, meaning he can't really build stuff, but he can edit stuff. Or I can make him an author, where he owns the items, he has the full details for it. Or maybe just a reviewer. I just want you to have access and view this stuff. You're just going to be able to see it. You can't do anything else besides see it. I'm going to go back to none here. And I'm just going to remove Joseph Patty. He doesn't need access to my offsite folder. But I'd imagine in some inboxes, in some cases, you might actually need to give just one folder access, just to a certain individual or a group of individuals. And folder permissions allows us to do it. Now, besides doing just one folder, you can actually give access to your inbox and your calendar. But in order to give delegate access to your entire Outlook here, you can go and do that from the backstage view, from your file account. Now, when I click on File here, it's going to show me my account information. And earlier we learned about automatic replies. But this time I want to start talking about my account settings. Because one of the options here is actually to have delegate access, where I can give other people permission to receive items and even respond on my behalf. So when I do this, I can choose to add someone to this window. I'll do Joseph again. It's opening up my contacts. And then when I add Joseph, I can choose, do I want to give him access to my calendar, my task list, my inbox, maybe just my contacts or my notes. Now for each one of these areas of Outlook, you can choose to make them a reviewer, letting them read things, nothing else besides read, or you can let them be an author, or they can add appointments, they can create them, but they can't delete anything. Or an editor where they can add, create, modify, just like you can. Now it's really important that if you do have a delegate, to turn this on. Make it easy for that delegate to know what they can and can't do. This will send them an email with just the permissions summarized to see what they have available. And if you do want to keep certain things, certain meeting details private, when you're scheduling your meetings, we all know you can mark the details as private. You can have those hidden from your delegate if you mark the email or the meeting details as private, if need be. I'm not going to actually add Joseph to my account, but I do want you to practice this. I want you to practice going to the delegates area because it's kind of hidden. It's not in front of you here. You have to actually go to the file tab and go to the account settings and open up the delegate access. Or you can just go ahead and practice using a permission for a folder by right-clicking a folder and adjusting the properties and adding permissions for an individual user for that folder. Practice this, give it a try. I'll be here when you come back. Just give me a quick little pause. Alrighty everybody, welcome back. Now I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about my home tab. Now inside of my home tab, there's a command group called delete. I know the obvious one is we can delete emails from here. Some things I don't see used too often are things like cleanup. Now, when an email has the same subject line, that's called a conversation. And if you want, you can actually clean up those conversations by removing redundant information or redundant messages that keep repeating themselves inside the conversation. So if I have certain email chains that are having the same email, responded to multiple times, I can clean it up, making it nice and easier to read. Or I can do my entire folder. Now, if I want to be very thorough, I can also clean up my folder and subfolder, removing all redundant messages inside of our conversations that we have. Now, besides being able to clean up our inbox, we also have a junk setting. Sometimes I get messages from junk senders and I can block the sender, or I can choose my junk email options to choose who is in my junk list and who's not, and I can manage those options. But there are times where I don't really want to delete things, but I want to keep them for later. I don't want it to be in front of me, but I just do know I want to keep them for later, whether it's for legal reasons at work or I might need to go back to it in 5 years. I want to archive it. Now, typically organizations have an auto archive policy assigned, where it's just automatically going to do it inside of your inbox, whether it's 2 years, 5 years. But you can also archive your own emails into a section called Archives in Outlook. Now, every time you archive an email, it'll show up inside your archive section. You're basically building PST files. Now, when you go to the File tab here, the Backstage view, I want to point out there's an option to open and export things into Outlook. So if you have an older Outlook file, you can actually open that up inside of Outlook. I just have one, my archive PST. But if I had more than one, I've been working in the same organization for 15 years and I've been saving one every year, so I have 15 of them. I can choose and browse and open up my selected archives. I don't have to stick with just one. Now, if you ever do close your archives, I'm going to right click and choose to close my archives. Do keep in mind I can always go back and open them up. I just can choose File, Open, and I could just reselect my archive file. And it actually shows back up at the bottom there. So I do want to mention though, if you are using archive, if you're on an email and you have it selected, clicking the backspace key will actually archive the email for you automatically. So you don't even need to click that on the home tab. But just keep in mind that if you do have it closed or you want to open up a different archive that you have saved, you have to go to the File tab. And you have to open up or export that file. So at one point, you'll have that file on a cloud service, that PST file, and you can go ahead and import it and open that up. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to ask you to archive certain things. This is just more one of those informational things. So if you are going to manage your inbox, it just makes sense to use the delete group. Use the cleanup tools for your conversations, and you don't need an email in your inbox. Archive it. Save it for later. Don't necessarily delete it, but save it for later, somewhere tucked away. Now, one thing I do want to mention, as you can see, there's a lot of tools to manage your inbox, whether it's archiving, cleaning up, deleting, or even automating using rules and quick steps. Outlook can actually hold more than one email, more than one profile. As you can see, I have my Learnit account, but I also have my Gmail connected here, so that way I can receive both inboxes' messages. And I can also send from both messages and both inboxes too. Now, if you are one of those users that have multiple accounts and you need to add those profiles into Outlook, you can do that from the File tab as well. So an option to add an account will be available. And I've already done that for myself. I've added both my IMAP and my Microsoft Exchange. But I do want to point out that inside my account settings, I've made sure to use my organization account as the default account. I've set it as the default with the check mark. Just so I can have my contacts, I can use categories, then I can use voting buttons, so that I'm connected to my Exchange server is what I want to do. So whenever you open up Outlook, it's going to automatically be connected to your Microsoft Exchange server unless you lose your internet connection, and at all times you're receiving new emails. I do want to mention though that we do have a send and receive area. And if you want to just work offline with it, basically no longer receive any new emails just for the time being, you can actually disconnect yourself from the Exchange server temporarily. Not many times that I do this, but it is an option that's available to work offline. Yeah, just disconnecting yourself from the Exchange. You'll still have access to your emails in your inbox, your folders. It's just not going to give you access to any new emails that are coming in. Yeah, so definitely, since we have all of these tools, adding more than one account or working offline just to gather your thoughts, maybe not receive too many emails, are definitely things that you can do for your inboxes. Now, this entire time that we've been talking about working with our inbox, we've been kind of mentioning our personal inbox. And it's great that we have our personal inbox and we learn that we can add more than one profile. But there is something called Outlook groups that you might want to consider using if you want more than one person to access a calendar or an inbox. Now, inside the Home tab of Outlook, you're going to notice that there's a command group called Groups, where you can browse your groups or create new ones. And if you notice inside of my folder pane, I have an area called Groups that's automatically in Outlook. I have already built a couple, so we see them there. But let me go ahead and build a new group here, because what that's going to do, it's going to allow me to build an email address. It's going to be the group name. I'm going to call it my example group. It's checking if that name's available. Nice. And now it's building me an email address, my example group at Learnit Anywhere on Microsoft.com. I can even add a little description, example group demo, and I can choose a classification if my organization has them assigned. Now, you can make groups that are public, meaning anyone in the organization can search for it, or you can make it private, where you can choose a set of people from your contacts and give them permissions to view this. Here, I'll make mine private. I'm not going to add anyone here. I'm just going to hit create. Just me, myself, and my group. So over here, my add members. Oh, is it going to make me add at least one person? It is. Here, I'll add myself. I'll add myself as a guest. There we go. So now I've opened up my example group. My example group shows up inside of my folder pane. And what this does, it gives me an inbox that can be shared with people. We can send new emails from here. We can have a calendar that's shared. We can even upload files together. We can access all the files that are being shared. Or even have a notebook. If you're familiar with Microsoft OneNote, we all have a shared notebook. Now keep in mind, since I'm an owner of this team, I can go ahead and add members, invite others to the team if I wasn't an owner, or edit the group if I need to. So groups are available in Outlook. Groups are also available in Teams. You can add this group to a team later if you need to. A lot of your Office products build groups. A group is just getting a collection of people together to share the same resources. And in our case, when we built a group in Outlook, we're sharing an inbox, a calendar, a notebook, an area for uploading files. Definitely one of the more advanced features. Maybe you're having a marketing event and you want people to email this inbox and you want multiple people to respond to it. We'll build an Outlook group for that. A lot of goodies that you can have for events, details, projects, a group that are available. Give it a try. Go to your home tab of Outlook and try building a new group. And you'll see it pop up inside of your group list where you have access to those various things. The email, the calendar, the files, directly from Outlook. Alrighty. So, something I want to spend a little time on is my inbox. Now in the beginner course, we talk about the different ways we can arrange it. We learn about the conversation view. But there actually are ways we can adjust the view of our inbox using the View tab. Now, as you can see, I have certain emails that light up a certain color because I have applied conditional formats and I've adjusted and I've customized the view of my inbox with them. Now inside of the View tab, you're going to notice that we have an option to change the view of Outlook. By default, everyone's going to be on compact view, but there also is a single view that we have. And there also is a preview where we can see the subject in one line of the message too. Let me go back over to my compact view here with my conditional formats that I've made. Let me go over to my view settings here now, because I use this area to make my views. I'm going to go to my view settings here. So over here is my advanced view settings for the compact mode. I'm currently using the compact mode right now. And I just want to add a little bit of a customization to it by choosing to add a conditional format. Now I can choose to add the font sizes, make them bigger, but I'm going to choose to do a conditional format to have certain emails light up a certain color based off who sent the email. I'm going to go ahead and do that, choose conditional format. By default, Outlook has quite a few conditional formats. And what I mean by that is even an unread message, that's a conditional format. It just lights up the subject that's blue and it makes it bold. For our group headers, submitted but not sent in our outbox, overdue emails. And then here's the one that I made myself. For Damon, I made one for Liz. I made one for Tom. And I have an example one. Here, I'll delete that one. Now let me build a new one for myself. I want to make a new conditional format. I want any email that is from Joseph to light up a different color. I'll probably pick the color when I see them in front of me. Let me go to my View tab here. And I'm going to choose my view settings and choose the conditional format. And I don't want any of these ones. I just want to add my own. So I'm going to choose to add a conditional format. And I'm going to call this one the Joe. And I'm going to choose the font. It's going to be the same font, but I just mainly want to change the color. Here, when Joe messages me, I want it to show up as a teal color. Teal. And I'll hit OK. And I also want to set the condition. A lot of people, they'll forget to set a condition. So nothing really triggers this. Let me set the condition for myself. I just want it to see a message from Joe. I'm going to select from, and I'm going to type in Joseph's name. And I'm going to choose the from and hit OK. Cool. So if it's from Joseph, I just want it to see it light up purple there, or teal, like I chose it. You know, I can do other things, like if it has a certain category, or even go really advanced and try to match certain fields, criteria, date ranges. But I'll keep it for just Joseph and I'll hit OK. Here, so I've set my condition and I've set the font. That will change it. Let me hit OK there. And OK. You see how that message over there automatically, it changed itself to a teal color. I've adjusted my conditional format for my compact view. Now, if you want, you can actually build an entirely new view based off of this view. You can save the current view as a new view. That way you can keep your compact by default, you know, as is, and then you can have a compact that has conditional formats for yourself. This one I do want you to try. I want you to set up a conditional format for the top 3 people you're in contact with. And once you build that, just save it as a separate view. Just go over there and save it as the conditional format view. And anytime you want to see that view, you can toggle that on from the View tab. Or just leave it on like me. So as you can see, there's a lot of different areas of Outlook. A lot of different functions that we can use, and they're all scattered across these different areas of Outlook. If you want, now that we've covered these things, you can actually build your own custom tab. You can actually add your own options and your own tools that you want to use in the tab, and that way you can have all the tools readily go at your fingertips, right at your convenience. Now it does take time to set up this custom tab, but it's nice to know that those tools that you really like today, like maybe the cleanup, the archive, rules, quick step, they can all be added to one tab for easy access. And that's actually known as customizing the ribbon. I'm going to go over to my File tab over here, and I'm going to look at the Outlook options that I have. And one of the options that I have available is the ability to go ahead and actually change the ribbon by customizing it. Now at the very bottom, I have customized ribbon, very close to the bottom. And over here, I have a list of all of the tools that are available in Outlook. Let me switch it to all commands. These are all the tools available in Outlook. And on the right-hand side, what I can do is I can build a brand new tab. And I can add the tools inside of command groups. So let me go ahead and hit New Tab here. There we go. I got the new tab, and I'm going to go ahead and rename it. I'm going to hit Rename. I'm going to call it Custom Tab. I'll hit OK. And I'm going to rename the new group, and I'm just going to call it Custom Group. And I'll hit OK. Now from here, I can actually search through this list, and I can find the tools that I want to use, like maybe quick steps. and I can add it to this area. Maybe I want to add rules too, so I can click on the letter R and try to find rules from here. Maybe I liked using groups a lot, adding in those groups. Adding in groups. Or those view settings to add conditional formats. I'll leave it at that for now. I'll hit OK. So as you can see, I've added in a custom tab now. And in my custom group, I've added in quick steps, rules, my view settings. So these custom tabs, what we can do is if you don't like them or you want to kind of hide them away, let me go back to my file tab here. I'm going to go to options. I'm going to click on the customize ribbon here. Now, the custom tab lives inside of your Outlook application, but if you want to disable it, you can uncheck it. But if you want to share this, if you want to give this information to someone so they can have that tab too, export it. Or just keep a copy for yourself in case your Outlook crashes and you have to go back to default and restart. You can have all your customization saved on a little file. I definitely recommend having at least one of these on your computer or your cloud service in case something happens with Outlook or you get a new computer. You can go back here and choose that file and add it back to Outlook, and everything will go back to the same way it was. Now, this is just customizing the ribbon. It adds the tabs up top. I mean, you also have other customization options. Like we have a search box up top. You can choose the default search results. Do you want to search inside the current folder or the entire mailbox by default? Or maybe you want to work with your calendar and you want to adjust your work time. Or maybe change the reminder time for how soon you get reminded about an appointment or a meeting. Or you're like me and you work across different time zones. And you have to go ahead and add in multiple time zones so you know the correct time for your meetings. So all these things are adjustable, your preferences, from the File tab inside your options. Now what I want you to do is I just want you to practice customizing your ribbon. Practice customizing the ribbon. You don't have to leave them on. Just practice adding your own tab, and you can check it off if you want, but definitely practice it before we go away here. Go ahead and pause me. I'll be right here when you come back, but try adding a custom tab from the File tab, going to your options there, and customizing the ribbon for yourself. Congratulations, everybody. That's going to conclude our outline for Outlook Advanced. Now, a lot was covered today, but we have finished our agenda, covering the interface, out of office, the voting buttons, quick steps, our delegate access. And we also finished all the way down to our personal preferences, where we can customize our tabs, import and export a customization file,